it's Mariko, aka Gamerwife of Gamerwife.com, and I'm back with my favorites of August 2015. A little note before we get started, in my previous videos I have included some makeup and skincare stuff. However, I have recently started a separate makeup and skincare channel called Noob Beauty, that's N00B Beauty, where I am doing a separate favorites video that just handles makeup and beauty stuff. So I will include a link to that in the description box so you can check it out. So my first favorite for the month of August is kind of a weird one, and I don't know where you can find this outside of Quebec, but if you can, totally try to get your hands on it. And this is a drink that I've been really loving, and it is maple water. I think there's a couple different brands of this now available. This is the Yoviva brand. But basically what this is, you know when they make maple syrup, so the sap comes out, but that's not maple syrup. You have to process it by boiling it down in order to actually make it into maple syrup. So the boiling is basically to evaporate all this water. But if you collect that water and you save it, it becomes a delicious, surprisingly healthy drink. This stuff has 20 calories, like 5 grams of sugar or something? Yeah, 5 grams of sugar, but it tastes like it's pretty much maple flavored water. Like the texture and the refreshment you get is exactly the same as like an ice cold drink of water. But then there's this like back note of like super mapley sugariness. Amazing. I guess if you like maple things like I do, I'm like a full-on maple addict, so living in Quebec is just like heaven for me. But yeah, they kind of advertise it as like a sports drink, I guess similarly to the way that coconut water suddenly became a thing. So refreshing, and surprisingly not terrible for you. August was an interesting month because I actually ran out of things to watch on Netflix. How does that happen? So I ended up having to go to our local video store. Yes, we still have video stores in Quebec. So I went and opened an account and started on some new DVD, new TV shows on DVD. And I wanted to shout out both of them because I'm enjoying them so much. I just jumped on the American Horror Story bandwagon. I know, they're like in their 4th season, but because we don't get cable and because they're not carried on Canadian Netflix, I just hadn't had access to the show. So I started watching it, and you know, I'm a bit of a horror girl. I don't know if you can tell. But I fell in love with the 1st season right away. There is so much amazing horror stuff happening on TV right now. So if you haven't checked it out, you don't mind a little gore, you have a really dark sense of humor like me, American Horror Story, big time favorite. The second show that I wanted to talk about is maybe a little bit of an odder pick, but it's The Masters of Sex. Now I believe this is a Showtime show with Michael Sheen, he's the guy who played Tony Blair in The Queen, and he's also Lucian in the Underworld movies, and I just love how versatile he is an actor. He's one of those actors that, you know, can do like the really gritty, serious movies and stuff, and then turn around and do something totally hilarious like a shirtless werewolf king. The show is about Masters and Johnson pioneering sex researchers from the 50s. The show's really interesting. It's a period piece that's set in the 50s, which is when they were started their research and whatnot. And it's very interesting. It reminds me kind of Mad Men in that, you know, all of these characters are really just, you know, these lenses to explore these different ideas about sex and sexuality and how they've evolved over the ages, but it's also just really great character studies. Next entertainment favorite is a game. As you know, I am addicted to my mobile games, and this one is really, really fun. This is one that Ari of Cookies and Comics got me onto, and it's Adventure Time Puzzle Quest! Some of you may be familiar with the Puzzle Quest kind of franchise. Basically, it's a match 3 game mixed with an RPG, but this one happens to be Adventure Time themed. So you have all of your favorite Adventure Time characters, mostly Finn and Jake, and then you have other people coming in. So this is the quests. There's like an online component to it too. There's crafting, there's battles, there's leveling, there's all of the awesome things you love about RPGs, but the gameplay is perfect for people like me who had to give up their Candy Crush addiction. I'm just addicted to this. I think it's really super fun, and you can kind of like zone out, but at the same time there is depth to it because you're leveling up, and it isn't just that the puzzles are getting harder, it is kind of adding stuff to it. So yeah, Adventure Time Puzzle Quest. Download at your own caution, at your own peril, I should say. Alright, next up are a couple of podcast recommendations. As you guys probably know if you read my blog or have seen these videos before, I am a podcast addict. Like, totally addicted to podcasts. All day, every day, I want to have somebody jabbing in my ears. And I tend to prefer more sort of edutainment style stuff, so things that are talking about current events or history or, you know, things we don't normally think about. You know, this kind of like NPR style stuff, right? So the two that I just discovered that I'm really enjoying are Note to Self, which is a WNYC podcast that explores kind of the intersection of humanity and technology and how to kind of be a more conscious user of technology. The second show or podcast that I want to recommend is called Lore. It talks specifically about folklore. So a lot of them have like kind of a creepy, awesome, like kind of campfire feel to them, exploring different folkloric myths or how the same myths appear in different cultures, or just one particular story or character from folklore, but done in that same kind of very highly produced storytelling style that Nate DeMeo has for the Memory Palace. I guess that's it. I know this has been a super rambly video. Again, if you want to hear about my makeup and beauty favorites, check out the link for New Beauty in the description box. Otherwise, you could find me on Twitter at GamerWifeBlog. You could find me on Instagram at Mariko_MTL. And of course, as always, on the blog at GamerWife.com. Bye!